Greetings children, this is for class 12 Cbse students. This is the first lesson from your textbook Flamingo, the last lesson. I will give you different parts of these lessons through video series. In this lesson, we will discuss the first paragraph. Let us understand the introduction first about the author, Alphonse Daudet. This is pronounced as Daudet, the French pronunciation of Daudet, Alphonse Daudet, 1840-1897, was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is set in the days of Franco-Prussian War. So this war, the Franco-Prussian here means French and German war, French-German war, and that war happened in 1870-1871. That war is called Franco-Prussian War, 1870-1871. Under the background of this war, this lesson, the last lesson is written. So don't forget the background knowledge about this lesson. Franco-Prussian War of 1870-71, in which France was defeated by the Prussia, led by Bismarck. Prussia defeated France in this war, Franco-Prussian War. It happened in 1870-1871. And Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In 1870-71, the country named Prussia, it comprised Germany, Poland, and Austria. Later, it is divided into three independent countries like Germany, Poland, and Austria. But in 1870, these two countries, Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria, together consisted of the country named Prussia. So Prussians, especially the Prussians led by Bismarck, the German ruler, defeated France. And after that, in the story, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine, these are the French districts adjacent to Germany, present Germany. These two districts became the land of Germans, have passed into Prussian hands. Prussian hands here means the German hands. Germany invaded into France and conquered these two districts, Alsace and Lorraine. Read the story to find out what effect this had on life at a school. So what is the effect of this in one of the schools in Alsace? That is the story, the last lesson. Let us check the first paragraph. I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of scolding. In great dread of scolding. So I is the narrator here. The narrator is Little Franz. Little Franz was the narrator of the story. He was a school-going boy. I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of scolding. He was in great dread. Great dread here means he was scared of rebuking. Scolding means a rebuke. So he started for school very late that morning because he was scared of, he was in great dread of, very feared of, or very scared of scolding. Especially because the reason for his dread, the great dread of scolding, because Monsieur Hamel. M in French means Monsieur. Monsieur is a French word for Mr. Mr. Hamel. It is pronounced as Monsieur. Monsieur Hamel had said that. He had said that. Had said means it was told yesterday or in the last class. That is why it is used as had said. His teacher had told him that he would question. He here means Mr. Hamel or Monsieur Hamel. He would question us. Us means the entire class. The entire class. So what is participles? Participles are verbal adjectives used with ing forms or in past forms. And he would ask questions on participles. The verbal forms that are used in adjectives in the ing or past forms, ed or en like forms. And I did not know the first word about them. I did not know the first word about them. The first word here means he knew nothing about these participles, the rules of participles. That was the reason why he was scared of going to school. For a moment, I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. Because of this inconsistency in him, because he was not sure about the rules of participles, and his master, Monsieur Hamel, he would definitely ask a question on participles. And he did not know even the very first word about them. Because of this, for a moment, he thought of running away. Running away means to bunk the class, to run away from the present class and spending the day out of doors. Out of doors means in the open air. In the open air. Out of doors. It is an old way of saying out of doors. Now we can say that it is outdoors. Outdoors. He wants to spend the day outdoors in the open air. You have to remember one more word related with this, outings. Nowadays, children demand from their parents, they want outings at least once in a month. So outing or out of doors, which simply means in the open air. Outside of that school, he decided to remain spending the day out of doors. He decided to spend the day outdoors. It was so warm. What was so warm? It means the day. The day was so warm, so bright. The birds were chirping at the edge of the woods. And so many things are attracting him, especially the birds. They are chirping. Chirping means they are singing. The chirping sounds, the birdie sound at the edge of the woods. At the edge of the woods means on the waysides of the jungle. Woods here means jungle or forest. The way to his school, he saw all these things. And in the open field, back of the sawmill, there was a sawmill. Sawmill means a mill that is used for cutting woods. Woods cutting mill, sawmill. And in the open field is a courtyard, a open ground back of the sawmill. The Prussian soldiers, Prussian means German. The German soldiers were drilling. Drilling means they were parading. Why they are parading? Because these two districts Alsace and Lorraine are now in the hands of the Prussians. They wanted to establish their control there, their control, military control. That is why the Prussian soldiers were seen drilling in the back of the sawmill. It was all much more tempting. All these things, it was all much more tempting, Whenever the comparative more comes, we can expect that. What is more tempting? The rules for participles. Because the rules for participles here means the schooling, the class of the day, the sights outside the classroom, like the chirping of the birds and the drilling of the Prussian soldiers, those were more tempting. What is tempting? That is generating interest in someone. That is tempting than the rules of participles. The rules of participles, he did not know even the very first word. So more tempting than these rules of participles are these things: the chirping of the birds at the edge of the woods and the Prussian soldiers drilling. These are more tempting to him than going to the class. But this is the but clause. I had the strength to resist. But the boy had the strength to resist. Strength to resist means strength to resist. Resist means to oppose. To oppose this, or to counter that attempt, to counter that feeling, or withstand. So he had the strength to resist. He had the strength to withstand that temptation. He had the strength to oppose that temptation. He had the strength to counter that temptation, and hurried off to school. Then he hurried off. Hurried off means to leave in haste. Or you can say that to live in hurry. That is hurried off to school. So that temptation he overcame and went to school. This little boy, Franz. This is the first paragraph with all this introduction. This is the first paragraph explanation. The rest of the lessons you will get in the next videos. Thank you for watching till the very end.